Why I'm convinced we are in hell. First of all, this should be needless to say, but people want to hear it anyway. I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows very much. This is just my intuition based on my observations and my experiences, like anyone else. But I posit that the universe is created on a binary system. Everything comes in pairs, has two sides, has a texture. You have protons and electrons, cause and effect, space and time, and everything derives from this. You can build anything complex once you have two parts. Once you have two parts to something, you can create a relation of something, a measurement, an idea. I believe the two parts are irreducible. You can't just have one. It must come in a pair, whatever anything is. And the very elementary two parts are necessary of one another, whatever they may be. Perhaps there's more, but they come in pairs. Again, I say time and space, cause and effect, the nothing to the something. Still, I think everything is derivative of the two most basal parts. And to avoid confusion, I'll just crudely call it something and nothing. That's what I'll refer to. For example, however thin you slice a spatial dimension, there are two sides. You also need 2 points of something to create anything of relativity. Therefore, you create the base system of ethics. So the system of duality pertains abstractly, not just physically. If everyone agreed upon only one thing for morality, it still wouldn't be enough to ground something. You would still need at least one other thing to agree upon to create a system, grounded and non-grounded. If everyone agreed nothing was real, you would still need at least one more assumption to agree upon what we call ethics or morality. If you don't have at least two base assumptions, you can't create a system of ethics. Even if you ask, why is there anything at all? You cannot contain nothing. It needs a boundary, and that boundary has to have a surface. Now you have geometrical difference between the two things, the nothing and the something. Even imagining something, you're giving it a definition. This nothing is a state between an observation and an observer. You're giving it substance. Nothing would be nothing if there wasn't someone to describe it as such. So for this reason, I don't think we're ever going to find out the truth behind our universe, the origin, the beginning, or, before the beginning. It's just irreducible from two parts. It's a pair. We're the observers, and we're not allowed to see the other side, not from a full frontal angle anyway. So it could be that this place eternally exists. It just condenses and collapses. It oscillates in an ebb and flow kind of way. So whether or not you believe it in the spiritual sense, I believe there's a certain kind of heaven and hell. And because there's no reasonable argument why this place would be heaven, I sure as fuck don't think so. It would have to be some kind of hell. In fact, heaven in this sense could just be what we describe as the necessary non-existence to existence, the nothing to the something. Is this a false dichotomy? No. While we always have a spectrum or dial of anything, even black and white, for example, comes in many shades, this is just an attempt to reduce things, everything and nothing, to its bare minimum. Even Christians believe the devil's greatest trick was convincing us that he did not exist. It's not that he doesn't exist, but the greatest trick could be that we're convincing ourselves that we don't even exist in hell. That would be a way that we continue this process through ignorance of this hell. We weren't supposed to evolve to be this intelligent, to be this close to the truth. The more intelligent, reasonable, and aware people become, the more unhappy and difficult their lives become. It's almost as if nature itself is trying to tell us to keep away from this dangerous truth. It blindsides and distracts us by waving these lights and tchotchkes to keep up continuing as these simple machines. So, we'll be forever surviving and reproducing for no reason whatsoever. Something went awry, something went wrong that our brains were developed to this point. The machines began to see its own parts, its own machinations, even as it kept operating on the stupid assembly line of carnage. So, for the false dichotomy of heaven and hell, you say, we just are. This is just life. We have our perspectives. Our reality is what we choose to believe it is. I would still argue that per this duality system, there's life and non-life. And every single time non-life will come out on top as the winner. Just weigh the differences. The cost of your life will cost hundreds, thousands, even millions of other lives for some people, and possibly even more for future generations. The thorns are heavier than the petals. Not only that, but the petals wilt and the scars remain. If for some fucked up reason you disagree, I really doubt you've been on the receiving end of suffering, at least for another's gain. And that's how it always will be for most people. It's exploit or be exploited. That's the game. Or you're stuck in the middle with ennui, waiting for the clock to strike. You can say a lot of people agree to this game of life by continuing, but nature's terms and conditions are basically usury by extortion. Not only did we not give our signatures, but the fine print is so small and cumbersome that, we're just forced to live lives running through a gauntlet of spikes and bludgeons over heaps of corpses. All that while trying to figure out what the hell we're even doing here. And of course, the psychopaths enjoy it, but it's a coping mechanism. It's the reason we laugh at dark humor. If you people still think that life is valuable, that it's something beautiful, commendable, something to laud, you enjoy living it, great. So here's what we'll do. These people can keep this shithole to themselves. They can have it. Don't bring me back into it. Don't ever bring me back. And don't bring other people into this. Because that person, those people may as well be me before he figured it all out. You guys can keep your little transhumanist utopia. And hell, maybe I'll help you build it if it keeps you from dragging me into this game. I'll fund a little into it if it separates us. So eventually, you'll live in this virtual reality forever, where you might accidentally end up enslaved forever by the owners and programs of that virtual reality. They'll keep you locked in. They'll keep you working. They'll make you pay for it. You'll end up living shitty lives inside of it for new gods. They'll use you. They'll keep surviving and reproducing. They'll keep you surviving and reproducing in their own kind of special meat grinder. And then they'll just abandon you. You'll be stuck there forever. It would be like life all over again, kind of ironic. Now, imagine that's already happening right now. Do you still want to bring people into this? At the very least, give them a way to unplug for any reason. If you can't ask them permission to come here in the first place. And if hell has layers, get me the fuck out of every single one of them. Let's figure this thing out, guys. Let's figure it out. However, I do believe in this dual system. I'll be talking more about this in the future, especially with subjectivity and objectivity, and perhaps what's beyond. But for now, enjoy your day, because the only other option is to have a shitty day. Choose one, or it's the other. Have a good night.